Rohan, are you there?
Rohan, Suresh, इनको भी looked up kindly.
Hey, hi guys. Hi Mahesh. Mahesh.
Hi Vikas, hi Sandeep.
Hi Mahesh, good afternoon. So after a long while.
After a long time. Thanks a lot for this. Thanks a lot.
अरे सर ऐसा मत बोलिए.
Mahesh, Mr. Sampath, is he joined?
Yeah, he will join. Give me a minute. I'll just check with him. Give me a minute.
So I've made you a panelist, so you can add him and
okay.
Share the presentation and all. You have the presentation. No? You can just check if you can share the
screen. Dave, just give me a minute. I'll just check.
Yeah, I'll just tell my team to just start pushing people to start joining in. I mean,
that will be great. Give me a minute. Give me a minute.
रिद्धि, बेटा quiet.
कृपया प्रतीक्षा करा किंवा थोड्या वेळाने पुन्हा प्रयत्न करा.
Vikas, Dave is waiting. How do you get him?
just 1 second. Huh? Just one second. Yeah, I'll just promote him to panelist. Yeah. That's what Dave is also now as a panelist.
Hi, Dave. Dave, can you hear us?
Is this Rohan Bandivedkar your this one? Rohan is the same?
Rohan is Rohan, Rohan.
Yeah. I'll also make him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hi. Oh, good. Thank God I can. Are you, can you hear me, Vikas?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. I was just
You can hear me as well, right, guys?
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, great.
Hello, Mr. Dave. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, sir. That was quite a presentation that you put. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for the opportunity, guys. How do we take this up? So, will I be presenting it? So can I?
You'll be presenting. We have Sandeep sir with us. So he'll be just introducing you and your team before we start. Sure. And then
hi Dave and hi Rohan.
Hey Sandeep, how are you?
Hi sir, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for doing this for us. We are hoping that it sort of sets the cat amongst the pigeons.
No, likewise. Let's hope so, sir.
In fact, I was just talking to one of my partners last night. He was saying that he had a client. So there can be many such hidden pigeons. But just that you can take it little slowly in Hindi and English, because many people would not know English that well and many people would not know Hindi that well.
No worries. So, we'll spend time on that.
And like I already told a lot about this to Rohan, I'm sure he must have updated you. So it's more about capturing that they can do something in this space and not get inside much of technicalities.
Sure. No, that's how we made the presentation the way it is, and we've tried using some local languages, some stuff. So, and we'll take that while we present as well. So don't worry, we'll try and build ourselves around it.
If you want to test they can share the screen and all. I'll just get busy in pushing people to come.
I think only the request which we wanted to make to Prabhudas Leather team, ये जो presentation है, guys, only we don't want that to be shared with people right now, because there are SEBI issues when we spoke about now selling this FK from India. So only we will prepare something if people want something, but I think this presentation will keep it here only, between us only.
Sure. Because
Yeah, absolutely. We won't share this present, but like I noted that point. Noted
Yeah,
that.
no, we will prepare something. People want something, we'll prepare something for them, which will be more on by keeping SEBI's viewpoint in place. Yeah, so we'll do that.
How do I present? So I need the presenting right to come across. Can you help me with that?
दे अभी present हुआ था तेरा sometime back. You did sometime back.
No.
अच्छा नहीं क्या? Okay.
Nope, not me. Let me try. No, it's saying disabled participants.
Vikas, can you make Dave the host?
Yeah, Dave. Sorry, I was on mute. I made you co-host now. You can check.
Just a second. Yes, I can share the screens now. Can you see the screens, all of you?
It's good. Yeah. We can see this.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Okay, so
Yeah. So still there are some 10 minutes left. So we just
sure.
because we'll start in the like
Absolutely.
some people to join.
Absolutely. Whenever you want to start, so we'll wait for the initial conversation by you guys. And once you make the introduction, we'll take it over from there. Yeah.
Yes, sounds cool, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Dave, you want to hide this right now? Or just
Stop sharing actually.
अच्छा.
Okay, let me stop sharing and then we'll share the screen.
Okay, so we just start in some time. So we expect some more people to join.
No problem, Vikas.
So it's very healthy to see that almost 60 people have come in, and it's not even 4 o'clock. So we'll just wait for another 5 minutes, see if we can hit a century, and then we'll start by 4:05, around 4:05, 4:07. I'm expecting that we will hit a century.
No issue. That will be great, Vikas. No issue. We'll wait.
So we just wait for another 3-4 minutes before we start. It's 4:01. We'll start at 4:05. We are 86 people. We'll start in the next 3-4 minutes, Dev. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem, Vikas. Yeah,
Absolutely, no problem.
sorry.
So we hit a century, Dev.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Very, very good participants.
करो please करो. हाँ. Yeah. Okay. So, boss, we should start. Sandeep.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, welcome everyone. I have with me over here our CEO, Mr. Sandeep Raichura, and we will be talking about investments in Indian capital markets by NRIs and FPIs. So, without any further delay, Sandeep sir, if you could just introduce the team and also the topic in much better detail. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate that you've taken this time off. But the people who are going to be speaking are experts in their area. They are all ex-bankers and know international investing inside out. And they would speak more about what all they can do. The context of why we have hosted this entire webinar is because, over the last few weeks and months, there's been a lot of concern with our partners and generally people who are brokers or sub-brokers about how we can handle the future in a time of, absolute commodification of brokerages. People are talking about 10 rupees and 20 rupees, etc. But the one thing that we forget is that while the advisory business in India is just taking off and has miles to go, the other opportunity that is there right in front of us, and some people have already started taking advantage, is that there's a global market of more than $300 trillion, right? I mean, you imagine the amount of zeros that we are talking about. There's an enormous amount of NRIs abroad, foreigners who wish to invest into India through various routes, including in stories in the private equity space, in the unlisted equity space, and obviously in the listed equity space. Now, some of us who've had businesses running for quite a few years and have large relationships, etc., may have often wondered how it is that we can turn the corner and make the entire experience that you've gained into a much more profitable and disciplined investment opportunity. Now, Dovetail, I mean, the name itself, in that sense, Dovetail is essentially the wooden piece that joins two parts of a shelf, the corners of the shelf. Dovetail has created a massive opportunity for people like you and me to be able to put businesses together around this $300 trillion opportunity. And the way they do it and the way they handle it, while they will get into details, they've made it so easy for each of us to set up businesses dealing in international instruments, domestic instruments for international investors, as easy as opening a local trading account. I mean, I think, they can get you going in 10, 15 days. A couple of our partners have already partnered with Dovetail. In fact, one of our partners out of Bangalore has already started a fairly large, hedge fund, Cat 3 hedge fund kind of business with help from Dovetail. And more and more partners have, sort of sought out these opportunities. But since, we don't have an expert at PL, we thought it would be best if the actual experts in this field, which is the Dovetail founding team. So, Mahesh and Dev are both founders of Dovetail. They have a very large international setup and they'll take us through it. I would encourage each of us to listen very carefully to the opportunity as it is available today and how we can partner. And we at Prabhudas Lilladher can help you partner along with Dovetail to exploit this opportunity. So without wasting any more time, because we are already at 6 minutes past 4, I would like to welcome Mr. Sampath and Mr. Shekdar to take the session forward.
Perfect.
Thanks, Sandeep.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you for that introduction. That was really nice. Thank you once again. Thank you all of you for joining in for this seminar. What we have done is we've created a small presentation and we would like to take you through that. Try and take you through the opportunity that Sandeep was explaining in terms of the ways to access Indian capital markets. On this platform, what we've done today is we have split this into two broad parts. One is broadly why India and the broad economy, why it's taking off, and what's been a recent past in terms of the flows from global markets. And then, of course, onto the product and specific specifications on how to access markets is what we're going to touch. Okay. So that's really the broad concept. So let us take you through why suddenly foreign flow is looking up in India. Okay, as you say, liquidity, Bhagwan che bhavanati. So basically, what is driving the market is not domestic flow, right? What is driving the market is the FPI flow, as you see it. This is just from October onwards. Look at the flow into Indian markets. What I'm showing you right now is really the November flow, 60,000 crores in 1 month. That has been the investment into equity capital markets, only equity. Debt does not include anything on debt or FDI. This is listed equity market. So share market में जो पैसा डाला है, 60,000 crore in November, all-time high, record broken in the month of November. The November record broken the very next month again. It is really in December, 62,000 crores next month. And आपने market देखा होगा, October से market जो take off किया है. This is really how you see that happen. And look at what's happening now. 3 days in February, the budget was presented on 1st. 3 days, 7,000 crores coming in. This is what is driving the market. So, and this is the opportunity. So what we wanted to tell all of you here is, this is where the flow is coming. This is where you see a lot of foreign money, NRI money, institutional money, globally looking at India. And India becoming a darling of the market. So, globally, they're looking at Indian markets to invest into. It's outperformed all emerging markets today and expected to continue to do so. We will come to the next slide why for that. But what the limited point we're making is, compared to the flows that we have domestically, there's a lot of global flow which is looking at India. And this is what we can try and capture as a business opportunity. Why we are saying it's still the beginning. You just scraping the iceberg, saying there is more to come. Picture abhi baki hai jaise bolte hain. To काफी सारा आना बाकी. Look at this. Next year we're looking at an economy growth of 11.5% as per IMF. RBI today, which is probably the most conservative institution in the policy today, said 10.5% is expected by RBI. So the next financial year growth for the economy is looking in double digits for sure. Okay, so we will be 10.5 to 11.5 depending on how well we grow. And look at other geographies. Look at other geographies that you have, and I've highlighted here Indian geographies growing it. So that's a big one for us. So next year economy in double digits, probably best growing economy across the world is what we're bringing on the table. The second part is, of course, China has its own troubles that's coming up, the way they've rubbed the countries wrongly. And now India seems to be getting into the global supply chains. So, a lot of these manufacturing takes longer time to come in and show its impact onto the economy, but that process has started. You can see a lot of these. So, iPhones getting manufactured in India. You would have seen in budget some duties on steels getting hiked, and a lot of these will lead to flows into manufacturing into Indian markets, and I think that should come. Also, what you see is green shoots coming up. GST is an all-time high, so basically 1.2 lakh crore in the month of January, and I think that's a brilliant number to have per se, because that effectively shows that yes, there is growth of the market and people are paying taxes around it. And what we're talking about is government will continue to spend. So if you've seen the budget, the fiscal deficit is at 6.8%. Okay, now fiscal deficit effectively the excess that government will spend. Okay, so now that is at 6.8, and this is in spite of the fact that government is selling a lot of companies and they're going ahead with privatization and disinvestment. अगले साल दो बैंक पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स को प्राइवेटाइज करेंगे. पहली बार यूज किया है कि प्राइवेटाइजेशन होने वाला. They've always said disinvestment. This time they've said basically they will not even keep the majority with them. Okay, now that's a big one. So they will sell out. The rumors are it is PNB and Canara Bank that will get privatized. Okay, but let's see how that comes along. But over a period of time, we are saying that will happen. Look at LIC. That probably will be the biggest IPO in our country. Valuations, there are rumors all around it, but that itself can take care of the complete divestment targets of 1.75 lakh. So in spite of all of this, you're saying government will go ahead and spend 6.8% of fiscal deficit. If you see previous years, we have been sub 4%. Okay, so government spend कर रहा है, privatization होने के बावजूद, तो इतना पैसा रेज करेंगे, उसके बावजूद extra spending है. Collections आपने देख लिया, GST collections 1.2 lakh crore already है. Okay, so because of all of this, I think there is a very, very good push. And finally, a government ne right turn liya hai. So, they were still being socialist, spreading, wealth, wealthy people should be taxed more, institution to be taxed more, long-term capital gains introduced. So all those were not, market favoring notes, but they have taken an absolute right turn saying, build people who are building businesses. And this is what you'll see in the country. So that's what we're saying. This is just the beginning. You will see a lot more coming through. So in a nutshell, we are saying brilliant flows, which I showed earlier, and economy slated to take off and take off in a big way. Now that's really where we are saying that why not look at this platform where global players would want to come in and invest into India. If you see every geography effectively is contributing to India, India is slowly and steadily becoming an asset class in itself. Okay, so when you're saying I want to invest my wealth, a part of it definitely needs to come to India because of the growth potential and the markets the way they are. So that is seeing the growth in the flows coming in. And this presentation is about how we capture that flow. Okay. And which is what we along with Prabhudas Lilladher are trying to bring on the table. Let's look at the first part. And this is very, very important. The general conversation and the PR and the media is saying treaty with Mauritius has been done away with, the treaty is dead, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's half truth. Okay, what has happened is treaty has been done away with only equity. So if you invest into equity, long-term, short-term capital gains pay karna padega. Okay, but what is not dead is derivative mutual fund debt. अगर आपने ऑफशोर पैसे से डेरिवेटिव्स में गेन किया है, zero tax, no tax to be paid. Okay, so when you have foreign money investing into derivatives or जो भी gains है, zero tax to be paid compared to 30% plus in India. Okay, major advantages. Mutual funds, no taxation. Debt, 7.5% tax interest rate. Okay, which is lowest from Mauritius. So while equity treaty has been killed, you have a treaty which will give you benefits for derivative mutual funds and debt investments. Okay? And this is not going anywhere. Okay, so while for showing the public that, yes, we have tweaked the treaty, etc., the tweaking has not been done too much. And I'm just sharing the PMO's post there as well. This is just before the treaty tweaking that got done. Okay, so Mr. Modi was in Mauritius at the time the tweaking was done. The tweaking has been done to keep quiet the domestic piece, saying that, we have done something about the treaty. The most of it is untouched. And that will not change because Mauritius is a very, very strong partner with us. We actually have a military base in that country. So it's almost impossible for India to take away a lot of things from them. So, that's a very, very strong advantage for us. And hence, this treaty is here to stay. Okay, so I don't think this is changing anymore. So advantages, if you're trading derivatives, mutual funds, debt, the tax rates are very, very minuscule comparative. Okay, so that's really the treaty story. And hence, if you're investing from offshore, you have better tax treatment. Okay, now let's get to the point where, how do you invest? So, all this is good. There's flow coming. How do we get a pie of it? How do we get that money coming into India and work towards it? Now, what is required is you need an FPI, a foreign portfolio investor. Okay. And how can you participate? Now, this is really where we can step in. Okay. What we've created is Dovetail has its own funds globally. So these are the funds that we advise per se. These are funds which are based out of Mauritius, right? Okay. So we have the first fund that we have is called Dovetail India Fund. Dovetail India Fund is a fund which offers structures for investments into India across the globe. If you see the structure chart here, we've tried keeping it as simple as possible, but simply speaking, what we're saying is NRIs can participate, foreign family offices, foreign individuals, foreign institutions, all are allowed to participate and invest into Indian markets. There's no restriction per se. 2, you can raise money from any part of the world. So say, for example, we have regulated some of our funds in United States, in Singapore, now in UK, Canada. So we've done all of that. So you want to raise money from any specific country. So the most difficult country to raise money is from US, from the regulations point of view. Okay. Our funds are fully regulated by SEC. So if you have clients in US NRIs, non-NRIs, family offices, whoever else. You can raise money from them, and these are regulated funds. So you can formally raise money from there as per regulations. Okay, so similarly, we've registered these funds in Singapore. We've done something in UK right now, and so on and so forth. So this is something where you will have ability to raise money across the world, and this money will come into the funds. What we have done is, as I told you earlier, which I was showing you the treaty as well, you can invest into equity, derivatives, debt, mutual funds. So कोई भी इंस्ट्रूमेंट में इन्वेस्ट करना है आप कर सकते हैं. आपको आके क्लाइंट्स के साथ डील करके आप एडवाइस कर सकते हैं. आप जैसे कह रहे हैं कि हमको एक पोर्टफोलियो बनाना है क्लाइंट के लिए और इन्वेस्ट करना है. वी कैन क्रिएट अ पोर्टफोलियो. इट कैन बी अ वेरी वेरी कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड पोर्टफोलियो. आपको डेट एक्सपोजर्स लेने हैं वो ले सकते हैं. डेरिवेटिव्स में ट्रेड करना है वो कर सकते हैं. तो आप जैसे ग्लोबल क्लाइंट्स को लाके किसी भी इंस्ट्रूमेंट में जो एफपीआई को अलाउ है आप इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं. मेनली इक्विटी, डेरिवेटिव्स, डेट, म्यूचुअल फंड्स, ये 4 इंस्ट्रूमेंट में अलाउड है इन्वेस्ट करना. ये एफपीआई कैटेगरी 1 रजिस्टर्ड है. मैं डिटेल्स में नहीं जा रहा हूं, बट कैटेगरी 1 इज द हाईएस्ट पॉसिबल एफपीआई रजिस्ट्रेशन. सो कैटेगरी 1, 2, 3 हुआ करता था पहले, अब कैटेगरी 1 and 2 है. कैटेगरी 1 हाईएस्ट रजिस्ट्रेशन है सभी के साथ. All our structures are highest registered category 1 FPIs. So effectively what we are saying is, if you have foreign clients, there is a way to invest into Indian markets. There are structures available by which we can help you build and bring that money on Indian shores. Okay, so that's really how this works. Standard overall structures. Let's go to the next structure from here. So I'm saying this is the basic structure in which you can invest through. Let's look at this part of the structure. Okay. Now, what we are saying here is, again, you can raise money from any investors across the globe. Okay, but what we will give you is a dedicated FPI specifically to your requirement. So that is a common structure. This is a common structure for all investors to come in and invest into. Okay. Then we have dedicated structures. What we're saying here is, this is called a protected cell company, a PCC. What we're saying here is, what you will get is one specific cell within the complete FPI. Now, these cells are segregated from one another. Yeah, let me repeat that. We are saying this is like a company within a company. Okay. So what we do is we get you a dedicated FPI registration for your investors to come in with. Okay. So say, for example, Dovetail Global Fund has, say, 10 cells, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One cell will have its own PAN card, will have its own FPI registration. So FPI registration is also separate at the cell level. Your own bank account, your own depository accounts, and all regulatory requirements are all segregated. Okay. So effectively what we're saying is, you can have a separate cell and all assets and liabilities will be bankruptcy remote. What I mean by that is, अगर सेल ए को कुछ हो भी जाता है, सपोज हमने बोरो किया और कुछ गड़बड़ किया, तो सेल बी और सेल सी को इंपैक्ट नहीं कर सकते. Okay, so no impact of assets and liabilities of one cell onto another by law. Okay, and that's why in India you also have a PAN card, you have separate custody, you have separate clearing, separate bank accounts. इसमें हम mainly major custodians के साथ deal करते हैं, which is really BNP Paribas, DBS, ICICI, बैंक. ये 3 banks के साथ हम mainly deal कर रहे हैं for your custody requirements. So all your assets and all your cash would be held within the custody of either DBS or BNP Paribas mainly. These are the 2 main custodians we use, and that gives a lot of comfort to clients as well, because they know bankers that they know globally are holding these securities. Okay. इसके अलावा, one is FPI registration. What you can also do is you can invest into FDI, unlisted companies. Okay. So each of these cells can also make unlisted investments into India. So you can effectively invest into equity of a company. You can invest into mezzanine debt. But simply speaking, under FDI route, regulations are काफी simple हो गए हैं. आप FDI you can invest by way of automatic route. Okay, so what I mean by that is, आप invest करिए, उसके बाद बस RBI को intimate करना होता है कि हमने ये investment करा है. That's it. So you can do FPI, which is listed. You can do FDI, and अगर आपको AIF में invest करना है, AIF 1, 2, 3 किसी में भी, you can do all of that as well. Okay, so that's really how these structures have been put up, where you can have global investors and you can make downstream investments into FDI, FPI, or AIFs.
So Dave, just to hold you for a second there and to possibly, let's say I'm a partner at Prabhudas Lilladher, progress partner. Okay, I'm running my business out of, let's say, one of the major cities, and over the last 20 odd years, I have built a lot of relationships with investors abroad, NRIs, and of course, through them maybe I have, foreign, whatever, friends, etc. Right? I think that I am a very good advisor. I know how to pick portfolios in India, including unlisted equities. Right? Now, so what you're effectively saying is that once I know what my skill set is, so the skill set could be investing into listed and unlisted equities. The skill set could be derivatives trading, or the skill set could be enabling FDI into India, right? I just basically need to approach Dovetail, select the proper structure under Dovetail Global Fund PCC. You create my entire compliance setup, my banking setup, my back office setup, reporting setup, etc. Get me my SEBI registration, and I get going.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right there.
Perfect. So the only two questions I might want to know as a partner are, one, is there a minimum kind of size required for this kind of setup? And number two, typically how long would it take to do something like this?
Sure. Okay, let me try and answer both the questions. Yes, there are minimum setup requirements. So you will have $100,000, around 75 lakh rupees per investors. That's by law globally. So internationally, law hai $100,000 of minimum investment per investor needs to come in. So 75 lakh rupees broadly should be the investment. Two, depending on the structure. So this structure, the PCC, where we have to create a dedicated SPI for you, will take around 3 months because we have to do the registration with SEBI with all of this. Okay, so that's around 3 months. But the first structure that we're talking about, where it's a structure that Dovetail would build and run for you, that takes around 3 weeks time. Okay, so 3 weeks and 3 months, depending on how you want to use or whichever structure you want to use. Just to add to Sandeep what you said, effectively we take care of everything in between from the regulations, operations, finance, and compliance point. Okay, just to extend what Sandeep was saying, when you onboard clientele, you just have to undertake the KYC. We have our own team in Mauritius. These are a set of Indians who have gone there. They will take care of the complete KYC in Mauritius. So, they will take care of the whatever requirements of the KYC, subscription document, money movement from the client. So they will handhold the client doing that. Once the money moves in India with the custodian, there will be an intimation to you, and then you can start trading on that portfolio. Okay. And in between, the first thing that we do is effectively go ahead and this money movement, KYC, etc., will report all of that. Two, when money comes to India, there is reporting. Kitna cash hai, kitni securities held hai, etc., will be reported to you as an advisor. And three, at the end of the month, we will calculate NAV. So this is like a fund where we will calculate NAVs and report these to the clients. So clients would get an NAV statement from Dovetail at the end of the month, which will effectively like a mutual fund NAV. So in terms of the structure, we are saying, and again, there's a lot of compliances, which is with regards to the structure and with regards to SEBI. Again, you don't have to worry or bother about that. What we are saying is, as a partner at Prabhudas Lilladher, what you bring on the table is whether you want to have an equity portfolio, a derivative portfolio, or a combination of two. You decide what you want to do. Okay. Everything in terms of the operations, finance, and compliances will get taken away, and we will take care of that. Yeah. Sandeep, did I answer your question?
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. And this structure is built to effectively make it simpler for you to run this. Okay, so you don't have to worry about the regulatory change in SEBI or what is happening in outside the country, etc., etc. You will have to worry about getting the money and deciding where to invest, which is what you do the best, right? That's what you decide and choose what to do. Everything in between is left to us. And we have a team, we have a 24, 25 member team who effectively run all of these platforms for us. Yeah. Okay. Now, and I'm seeing some questions. Can we take these questions at the end of the session, if that's all right? Okay. Now, besides this, let's see how we can build it up further, which is really on funding. So, we're saying margin financing outside the country. So like you do margin financing in India, you do leverage, you do loan against shares, you can do all of these in the structures as well. So that's also absolutely possible. You have clients sitting across the globe, you want to offer them leverage investments. So say, for example, you believe markets would go up significantly, I want to leverage, and in my strategy, I think we can borrow. We can actually do that also. Okay. What we have done there is we have tied up with Nomura Singapore. Nomura Singapore is a global prime broker. So आप सबने P notes, ODI definitely सुना होगा, right? हमने swap arrangement किया है Nomura Singapore के साथ. आपके clients हमारे fund के through आ सकते हैं और Nomura, they effectively can invest into Indian markets using Nomura with leverage. So say for example, you want to invest into Reliance Industries. Okay, just an example I'm saying. You can raise money from global investor, multiple investor, one investor, whatever you like. Raise money. That money will go as margin to Nomura. Okay, and against that, Nomura will go ahead and buy Indian equities for you with a leverage. Okay, say on a Reliance, a margin would be at 25 to 30%. On certain stock, it will be close to 50%. In certain small cap, mid cap, it can be higher. Okay, but having said that, you can actually leverage across in the global market and then invest into Indian markets. Okay. So margin financing जैसे आप इंडिया में करते हैं, आप global market से कर सकते हैं. तो आपके global investors भी margin financing use करके Indian investors. So leverage investment using margin financing is an absolute possibility now. So this is a new product that we have launched. It's been 6 months now, working really fine. And इसमें पूरा leverage Nomura Singapore से आता है और they invest under the overseas derivative instruments. So the P notes आपने सुने होंगे, those get used here for downstream investments into Indian markets. So आपके strategy पे depend करता है, आपकी requirement of leverage पे depend करता है. आप ये कर सकते हैं, we can build this up and then you can make downstream investments completely using leverage. Okay. And again, that's really NAV. Again, the whole part: operations, fund accounting, finance, audit. ये सारा हमारा काम है. We will take care of all of that. Yeah. So that's really the overall structures for India investments. I'm just rewinding all of these. One is simple plug and play solutions. You come in, we will facilitate, and you're investing under the Dovetail umbrella. Two, we create a dedicated cell in which we create an SPI for you. And you get all your clients to come in there, but these are segregated, structured SPI structures for you. And third is leverage investments. You want to get your global clients to come and make leveraged investments into India, we can do all of that. Okay. Right now it's Nomura, we are just tying up with Goldman Sachs as well as we speak. So that will also come in. Okay, so then we can actually have competition within ourselves, saying whoever provides the best rate or better turnaround times or better terms, we can go with it. This is really about India investments per se. So that's really how we wanted to touch base on this products. There is an India outbound platform as well, which is the last part that we really wanted to show you. Okay. This is really
one question. Let's say I come in, I'm meaning anybody who wishes to set it up, comes in initially as a part of your existing setup as a scheme. And, while he's or she's researching and sort of collecting assets, etc., you are parallelly also working on a setting up of a separate FPI. These things can coexist, right? Or does one preclude the other?
No, it can coexist. We can have one plug and play solution, and parallelly we can also set up the dedicated cells and classes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. There's another product that we launched. This is India outbound. Okay. आपने recently सुना होगा, there's huge flows which are going and getting invested into global markets. Okay, so as Indians are getting richer, the government is allowing a part of their money to go out and invest. This is called the LRS route, the Liberalized Remittance Scheme under RBI. इसमें क्या होता है, up to $250,000 तक आप इंडिया से बाहर हर साल भेज सकते हैं per person, and it can be for multiple reasons. One of these can be investments into global markets, and that has started coming. So ये प्रोडक्ट हमने लगभग 3 साल पहले लॉन्च किया था. It's called अनंतम इंटरनेशनल SPC फंड. ये अगेन म्यूचुअल फंड लाइसेंस है. हमने म्यूचुअल फंड लिया है कीमन आइलैंड्स, which is known for American investments. Okay. Under LRS route, you can actually take money from India, okay, which is around 2 crore rupees per person per year maximum. Okay. आप इंडिया से पैसा बाहर ले जा सकते हैं और ग्लोबली मार्केट्स में इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं. अगेन, अब द सेकेंड पार्ट इज आप अपना पोर्टफोलियो ग्लोबल मार्केट्स के लिए भी डिजाइन कर सकते हैं. ओके, सो लाइक you're saying global money investing into India and you will decide the portfolio, you will give advice on the portfolio, etc. This is exactly the opposite of that. Saying Indian money getting invested across the globe. Okay, and then again you can decide the portfolio. You can say I am very bullish on American tech investments. We can do that. Okay, what we've also done is we've also tied up with few fund managers. There are a lot of fund managers who will make downstream investments into global markets. And those fund managers can also be brought in. So, okay, yes, I want to invest into global markets, but I don't know where to invest, what to do, who's the good fund manager. We can bring all of them on the table. So we can show you strategies. We can tell you what is going good, and these can be as simple as S&P 500 mutual funds में invest कर दिया, okay? या American tech stocks में invest कर दिया, FANG strategy में invest कर दिया, या फिर बहुत specific strategies. Asia consumer investment strategies. Okay. And these are very, very good large fund managers. So they have spent their lives in global institutions managing billions of dollars. Some of them are on the platform now. Okay. So you can choose all of that. So simply speaking, आप इंडिया से फंड रेज करिए, अनंतम इंटरनेशनल में पूल होगा, वहां से ग्लोबल मार्केट्स में इन्वेस्ट होगा. हमने अभी यूएस मार्केट्स, यूके मार्केट्स, आयरिश मार्केट्स और सिंगापुरियन मार्केट्स में इन्वेस्ट किया है. We're just starting with Vietnam and Malaysia because these are more of Asia investments which people got very, very interested in. Okay, so that's the story. I'm saying India outbound के लिए भी आपको platform चाहिए, ये requirement है. अब बहुत सारे clients ने शायद आपसे पूछा भी होगा. We were the first one to really build this platform. Okay, the first one to build this. Now a lot of other players have started, but we're saying we're the first one, and we've got quite a bit of traction here already. 10-12 ऑप्शंस हैं आपको इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए, आप कैसे इन्वेस्ट करें. जस्ट टू गिव यू अ फ्लेवर, पिछले 5 साल में 1920 का डेटा नहीं है कंप्लीटली अभी, बट पिछले 5 साल में 3.15 लाख करोड़ LRS स्कीम में इंडिया से बाहर गया. Okay, that is the money that's going on, and then you can distribute this majorly. Okay, so this is how big the opportunities are. So we have showed you how big the India inbound is. Look at in India outbound, and a lot of clients are interested in doing this as well. Okay. So simply speaking, what we are saying is, if you have a foreign client who wants to invest into India, just come our way. We will take care of everything in between that needs to be done. Similarly, if you have an Indian client and wants to invest into global markets, into a portfolio, something that you can advise or you can build onto, again, please do come our way, and we will ensure that we set up the whole platforms. So in a nutshell, that's the whole story, saying offshore into India or India into offshore. These are platforms that can help you build all of this end to end. And you don't have to bother about operations and compliances, which is a major part of India, right? Take care. Yeah, so broadly, that's what I wanted to showcase to you. I just want to leave one slide in the end with you. So I'm sure आप सब ने देखा ही है ये Scam 92 का one of the dialogues there. I thought let me pick it up from there on. But yeah, that's the whole story from our side so far. And absolutely. So over to you, Sandeep, if you want to add to it, and if you want to have any questions that you would like us.
So this was extremely short and sweet. I think very, very insightful. Instead of getting into technicality, you've given a brilliant overview. Because I'm not 100% sure how to take Q&A. If people raise hands, do we transfer them onto the panel or do we write? But I hope that all the partners who've attended and all our relationship managers also now have a clear view, in the sense that when you come across clients who have questions regarding the scale of investments or international diversification of investments, etc. There's a whole new world out there which is 200 times larger than what we guys deal with on a day-to-day basis, and this is the future, and this is a huge opportunity. So for those of us who aspire to become advisors or who have views on things like asset allocation and diversification, there are structures available. Dave, I just wanted to know one thing, because from the scale and complexity of it all, it looks like a very expensive proposition. So let's say I wanted to set up a shell structure with you, or an FPI, or outsource the entire back office. Are we talking in terms of a few lakh rupees or a few crores? If you can highlight that, so that also becomes clear.
Sure. No, very, very good question, Steve. So that's I'm sure on everybody's mind as well. It's not an expensive proposition. Okay. So why is it not an expensive proposition? Is because we have multiple investors. So our fixed costs get split between the multiple work that we do globally. Okay. So that's why this can be a cost-effective way to do it. Okay. Now that depends in terms of how do you want to run this. So either you are coming in with a dedicated cell, which we spoke about, then you have to file for SEBI and approvals, etc. That's really a one-time cost of around 7.5 to 8 lakh rupees. Okay, but if you don't want to do that and you come on the first, which is the umbrella platform, okay, that has a very little setup cost. That's really a 1.5 to 2 lakh rupees of setup cost. That's it. Okay, so that's the kind of investment that all you need. Okay, and then rest of the cost can be really from the client. So it's like an expense ratio of the fund. Okay, so the initial setup might be from the advisor or the person who wants to set this up, but from rest of the expenses can be really recovered from the underlying investors who are contributing, because that's really like the expense ratio of a fund that you want to run. Okay, so this is like a global AIF3 or a mutual fund that you can run, and the investment is as low as maybe 2.5 lakh rupees for an umbrella structure, and maybe 8.5 lakh rupees for a dedicated structure for you for India investments.
So to cut it short, you're saying for 2-3 lakhs in about 3 weeks from now, I could have actually set up an international fund, and then I become busy collecting money and managing money for the rest of my life.
You're absolutely right.
Okay. Arun Bansal, our partner in Delhi, has asked a question whether the execution of trades is at partner level. So Arun, it's an FPI. FPI, places orders via a broker. So, I hope that answers it. There's nothing called a partner. It's essentially you're placing orders through Prabhudas Lilladher. Now, those orders could be placed via anybody at Prabhudas. Parin Dedia is asking whether this cost is one time or per year. Parin, this is a one-time cost. The only recurring cost is the cost of managing the assets and providing the compliance, etc., which is actually marginal, which is levied to customers of the fund.
Sandeep, if you could talk about that example of one of the partners who did use.
No, I was going to, but since the partner's permission is not there, I don't want to get into it.
But we could do it without his name.
I still am very uncomfortable. Basically, the partner, I did cover it in my initial few comments, that the partner, with Dovetail's help, has set up a fairly large outfit and is sourcing customers internationally, running derivative strategies out of India. However, beyond that, I wouldn't want to say much. Deepak is asking Dev, can we have fund manager visit and address gathering of willing investors in India?
Yeah, so so this is, you're talking about an India outbound platform, I guess. Yes, we can arrange for fund managers to have a conversation, but most of them are sitting outside the country. So these would be based out of Hong Kong, Singapore, or we have a fund manager sitting out of Canada and New York, etc. But having said that, we can set up a call like this where this fund manager can step in and give his views and thoughts around it. Over a period of time, they do travel to India. Next time they're here, we can obviously try and request them to come and meet some of the clients that you might have. But setting up a call with some of these partners on a global strategies and platform, absolutely possible. We can set that up.
What necessary certificates from our side? Parin, so I mean, Dave, maybe you could cover that. So for registration, what kind of documentation is required?
So this is again, it's a very valid question per se. But what's happened is SEBI does not impose any requirement of any certification or registration when you're advising global investors. Okay, so SEBI, what they do is, if you're advising an Indian investor, that's when you need an IA license or subsequently other licenses that are available. But when you're advising global investors, no licensing requirements come in. Okay, so for when you have global investors investing through a structure, you obviously have to undertake KYC with us. But beyond that, nothing else is required. Yeah.
Perfect.
This could be a great opportunity for people who want to trade in derivative markets in India for their NRI customers using this medium. It's like one of the great opportunities. So that's really nice to know. And there's one more question from Parin again. Other than brokerage, can we charge any other fee?
Oh, yes. So, one is the brokerage that you will charge. But for advice, there is an investment management fee that can be charged. So if you want to run it like a portfolio, what can happen is, one is the brokerage that gets charged in India, which is fine. You can also charge the clients the investment management and investment advisory fees, which is absolutely possible. You can also do profit sharing with them. So typically, globally, when you have foreign money investing into India, you do charge a fixed fee and you also charge a profit share. Now that depends on your arrangement with the client, what is the fixed fee and what is the profit share. But absolutely possible to charge an investment advisory fee and a profit share on it as well.
And Vikas, just to add for derivatives clearing, as Dave mentioned, our structure is we are coming from Mauritius and India-Mauritius treaty. There is no tax. So any gain out of this derivatives clearing, which will be tax-free. So you're talking about clearly 30% tax saving upfront.
So that's really something that is really amazing to know. If there could be some kind of a literature which can be circulated afterwards, it would be great. We can tell this to a much wider audience other than those who didn't attend. So that could be arranged. That'd be great.
We'll create something on that.
Because it would also help if some of our larger and senior partners, we could possibly work along with the Dovetail team and sort of get them introduced to each other. Yeah. I mean, obviously, wherever the partners want to be introduced, and maybe set up individual
I'll be
calls.
connecting Rohan and the team to one-on-one to our senior such people, and we'll update you, sir. So there's one more question. Can we do put call trades without buying equity in this?
Oh, absolutely. So there's no restriction on derivative trades that can be done under the platform. You can absolutely do any derivative trades without having an underlying equity. There's no restriction. You can do put calls, naked future positions, no problems at all. Under regulations, all are allowed.
One of our team members is asking that what type of returns can a moderate.
I'll answer that. Ravi, we are not talking about a product that is in place, or we are not trying to sell a product. We are saying that we can help each of our partners or clients who want to set up a business out of it. We can help them set up businesses as an FPI, as an AIF, etc.
Parin says short option writing allowed.
Yes, it's allowed.
Yes.
And one of our partners, Swastha Mitra, wants a seminar on this in Calcutta. We could. Would you be able to arrange, Saswat? What kind? We'll come back to you. I'll connect with Saswat and understand what is the audience and stuff like that.
But we could always do it on Zoom. So if there are interested HNIs who wish to start a business on this, then it can always be done on Zoom with a limited audience of the top 10, 15 investors.
Yeah. So Saswat, on Zoom, so we can do a dedicated one call for you, and then we can take it how it goes forward.
Okay, I think people are awed by the opportunity. And our Dev and Mahesh, our teams will work closely along with our top few partners over the next few days, because possibly for some of them, this topic is too vast and too exciting. So I think it's essential that one more round individually between our members and the progress partners happens, and we select individuals with whom we connect you. So I think that's what we should focus on over the next 10, 15 days. I'm sure some of them would also write into us or call us, and in which case, obviously, we'll connect them directly to you. Does that sound fine?
No, absolutely. Sorry, Mike.
Awesome.
No, exactly. Because I'm saying, surely, Sandeep, whenever you need us, just let us know.
Absolutely. And Rohan's been in touch very, very often. So I would request all the partners to, even if you've not understood certain aspects, please write into us, or you want to set up a call, please do that. But do not underestimate the opportunity that you have created for yourself in some cases that we are aware of. Think of the future, think of, what you can create in terms of, leveraging your own expertise and leveraging your own relationships. It gives you, the ability to go international. Keep that in mind. Don't dismiss this particular thing as just another webinar that you attended. It is a very, very serious business opportunity. With that, I would like to thank the Dovetail team for having taken time off. Really appreciated that you could turn around so quickly on a Friday, typically, when I'm sure that you guys are extremely busy winding up affairs for the week. Vikas, if there's anything you'd like to add, and then
So So I think that Rohan, that thank you for your quick support, and Dave as well. And if you could give me these pointers, which could help me generate more of leads apart from what boss ordered, where I would be and my team will be connecting you with people which are which we think are can give you immediate business. And if such kind of if the language and these things can be brought out, the literature can be given to us, which we can use to circulate, it will be really helpful.
Sure. Noted, Vikas. We'll do that.
So I'll start connecting you with people, and we'll work on this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you once again. Thank you for, first of all, opportunity, both of you, Sandeep and Vikas, and thank you all of you for joining in. It was a pleasure. And anything that you need will be available. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Goodbye.